Welcome to Revenza Tales, where betrayal stories and intense comebacks fuel your soul. Smash subscribe, ring the bell, and share with friends who battle for their truth. Imagine your perfect marriage becoming a trap, your trust deceived. How far would you go to get your life back? My name's Sarah, a simple woman from a tiny town in country Ohio, where cornfields roll miles and everyone knows your business. I came up muddling along in the background. Bland brown hair, medium height, nothing shouting look at me. As a child, I'd draw in a notebook, not seeking popularity. My parents struggled on dad's mechanic salary and mom's diner work. Watching them balance checks, I yearned for security, something permanent to grasp. After college, I got a job with an insurance company in Columbus, doing math in a cubicle. It wasn't glamorous, but it was safe, and safe was all I desired. By my 30s, safe felt like a prison. My older sister, single and alone in our hometown, taunted me. I didn't want to end up the same. Forgotten, nobody's first choice. I'd never had anyone turn their head. Plain, reliable Sarah. The few dates I'd had fizzled quickly, leaving me believing I'd blown my chance at love, stuck watching rom-coms by myself. That loneliness ate at me. One evening, after too much coffee and no rest, I did something irresponsible. Registered for a dating app. It was there that I met Ryan, everything I was not. Tall, good-looking, with a smile that could sell the moon. 2 years my junior. He sold for a large Columbus firm, always impeccably dressed, quick with a quip. When his page appeared, I thought, no way he's interested in me. But he texted first, and before long we were texting round the clock. Him telling me I was gorgeous, making my cheeks flush. I fell fast and hard, and before I knew it, we were organizing a wedding. Ryan wanted a wedding in my hometown. Sarah, you should be the center of attention, he said, eyes creasing with charm I couldn't deny. I could see myself in a small church, around people who'd known me since I was a child. Since our town's out in the boondocks, Ryan's friends couldn't come on the trip, so he asked only a few close friends. I didn't care. I was content with my friends packing the pews. Ryan whispered, if Sarah's happy, I'm happy, and I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. My heart brimmed. He looked at me, really looked at me for the first time. In hindsight, I was blind, so swept up in the fairy tale, so thankful a guy like him chose plain old me. On our wedding day, dancing to twinkling lights in a rented barn, fireflies flashing in the darkness outside, I thought I'd outrun loneliness. But life has a way of pulling the rug out when you least expect it, and mine was on the verge of crashing. One night, after a long day at the insurance company, I trudged into our Columbus apartment, shoulders throbbing from slouching over spreadsheets. The city skyline twinkled outside our window, a change from the peaceful fields of my youth. I figured Ryan to be at the office or grabbing supper. He was instead reclining on the couch, controller clutched in his hands, TV blaring on a racing game. Hey babe, he greeted, eyes fixed on the screen. I assumed he'd gotten off work early, so I began chopping carrots for supper, the rhythm of the knife steady. Then he let it fall, nonchalant as you please. Oh, and by the way, I quit my job. I almost cut my finger. You quit? Without discussing it with me. My voice trembled, shock and outrage burning. Ryan didn't even glance up. It's not a big deal, Sarah. I'm an adult, I make my own decisions. I stood, knife poised in mid-chop, thinking. Yes, he could have made decisions, but we were married. Didn't that imply that we decided together? Pressed, heart racing. Why'd you leave? Did something go wrong? My boss was a moron, he said, thumbs pummeling the controller. There's more for me out there. More where? I wanted to yell. Instead I asked, like what? He shrugged. I'll find out. God, Sarah, stop acting like my mom. Marriage to an older woman's wearing. That age slap stung like a slap. Not the first time he'd hurled it in my face. When I pushed, he'd smile. You're lucky a man like me chose you. Most women your age don't have this opportunity. I'd grit my teeth, that plain, unloved Sarah believing him. But it was more than hurt pride. Our life was exploding. Ryan, we're sending money to your parents, I said, voice firm in spite of panic. Their condo rent is ludicrous. My pay can't pay for our home and theirs. His parents had resigned from work after we got married, saying they were too exhausted. I did not judge initially, live your life, but then they requested assistance for their luxurious 4-bedroom condo close to central Columbus, all glass and tall ceilings, shouting money that we did not have. Ryan had stated, "Sarah's got it covered," as if it was nothing. I wasn't comfortable with it, but I acquiesced, not wishing to appear cold-blooded. Now that Ryan was unemployed, the arithmetic collapsed. What about their rent? I chopped harder, exasperation leaking into the knife. Ryan clicked his tongue in annoyance. "You'll cover it, Sarah. We're a couple, aren't we? Rachel will take over once I get something better." He cranked up the game's volume, case closed. I glared at his head, feeling punched in the gut. My salary was respectable, but insufficient for 2 homes, particularly their astronomical rent. We'd drawn on savings I'd accumulated through years of pinching pennies. Ryan contributed nothing. Didn't clean, didn't cook, simply played video games or sneaked out, spending cash from our shared account. That evening I couldn't sleep, Columbus's city lights flashing in our room, the weight of it all suffocating me. The fairy tale was unfurling, and I was seeing Ryan for what he truly was. Not my rescuer, but a man sucking off my stability. The country girl who'd yearned for security had constructed it, only to see it slip from my grasp. But something awakened, not defeat but defiance. I wasn't going to become invisible Sarah again. I'd try to safeguard what I'd established, even if it meant confronting the truth about the man I'd wedded. I had always yearned for stability, but now I was shouldering the whole burden as Ryan pretended that I owed him. Some part of me desired to just walk away, abandon him and his parents to sort themselves out. The terror of being alone again, of facing the empty future that I had feared, held me back. So I did what I always did, I persisted. I took on freelance graphic design work after work, burning the midnight oil to sketch logos and posters, anything to keep us afloat. Ryan's job search existed in name only. He'd slip out with my debit card, saying he needed a break at a downtown Columbus casino. My love for him unraveled thread by thread, but I wasn't quite ready to let go, not yet. Months crawled by, our apartment prison not home. My days ran together. 9 hours at the insurance company, then evenings slumped over my computer, creating flyers and business cards for clients online. My eyes ached, fingers sore, but each dollar went toward our bills and Ryan's parents' rent. Ryan was a specter in our marriage, sleeping until noon, gaming all day, or disappearing to the casino with my money. When I reminded him of his job search, he'd snap. "I'm looking, Sarah. Back off, you're lucky to have me." That line, always that line, as if I was supposed to be grateful while he drained me dry. His parents weren't much help. They'd call, their voices snapped, griping the money wasn't sufficient. "Sarah, you're not exactly young," his mother said, voice dripping with judgment. "Can't you be making more by now?" Ryan used to support us just fine. I wanted to shout that Ryan was not looking out for anyone. I was suffocating under their demands. But I muttered apologies, promising better, stomach churning in anger. Raised on watching my parents make every buck last, I was an expert at budgeting, but this was a black hole. Ryan made me feel tiny, undeserving. "You're past 30, Sarah," he'd sneer. "Who else is going to desire you?" Those are the words that got under my fear of becoming like my sister, by myself with her cat, sending me messages about quiet nights. I'd stay up at night, dreaming of divorce, a life without Ryan's burden, but I'd envision a solitary apartment, no one to divide my days, and terror froze me. What if this was my only chance at love? What if I went and had nothing? I pushed through, taking more freelance work, hands shaking from exhaustion. Ryan didn't notice. He'd ask for casino cash, claiming it was his way to unwind. I'd hand it over, hating myself, too tired to fight. My love wasn't love anymore. It was habit, desperation, refusal to admit I'd been wrong. I'd gaze at our wedding pictures, me smiling in those barn lights, thinking about where that Sarah went, the one who thought Ryan could see her value. I was now a paycheck, a way to get something done. The reality was like a weight crushing me. I once trudged into a Columbus grocery store, bone-weary from my job, the city's neon lights flashing on the outside. My shopping cart was filled with economy pasta and canned beans when a voice penetrated. "Sarah, hello, it's me." I turned. A man in a sharp suit, warm smile. "I'm Marcus, we met at your wedding, Ryan's friend." It clicked. Marcus, one of the few Ryan brought to our hometown ceremony. His warm eyes triggered my memory. "Sorry Marcus, it's been a long time," I said, blushes. He waved it off, dumping bread into his cart. "No problem, I just wanted to see how you're doing. How are you keeping?" He spoke softly, as if he had information I didn't. I shrugged, trying to smile. Same ol' Ryan's between jobs. Marcus's face pulled taut, tone low. "Look Sarah, I don't speak to Ryan anymore. Haven't in a while." I blinked in bewilderment. "What? Why?" He paused, then blurted it out. "Ryan wasn't what I thought. In college he had a gambling habit, wasting money on slots, borrowing from friends like me, never repaying. I hung around because we worked together, but when he got fired, not quit, fired, for missing sales calls to go to the casino, I had had enough. He called afterward, requesting another loan. I hung up on him. I clutched my cart, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. Fired. Ryan had said his boss was the issue, that he quit on his own terms. Swore a lie. Marcus's words broke something open. All those months of Ryan smirking, his "you're lucky" jabs, his parents' insistence came surging back. Saw it, a con. I wasn't a wife, I was a mark. My hands shook to thank Marcus, voice hardly steady. "You have no idea what this means." He nodded, realizing the tempest he had released. That night I couldn't sleep. Ryan's deceit rolled in my head, but so did something new. Anger, cutting and clarifying. I wasn't nothing. I wasn't fortunate to have him. I was finished being his ATM. But Ryan and his parents weren't letting go without a fight. They viewed me as their way out to a life of ease. I required a scheme better than walking away. My freelance work was taking off, generating steady money. I had a secret bank account, depositing each penny there, out of Ryan's reach. I wasn't sure how I'd use it, but it was a spark of control. The next morning I checked our joint account. Ryan had withdrawn another 100, probably for the casino. I sat at our kitchen table, the Columbus skyline gray through the window, and pulled out my laptop. I started digging, bank statements, transaction histories, anything to trace where our money went. Most withdrawals led to the casino or bars downtown. I discovered an email from Ryan's mother thanking him for paying their rent, with a postscript. "Tell Sarah to keep it coming, she's got the stable job." My anger flared, they were all in on it. I phoned my sister Ellen in our hometown. Her voice was gentle but resolute. "Sarah, you're not alone, you're stronger than you believe. Leave him, begin anew, you deserve better." Her words set me ablaze. I was no longer the intimidated girl from rural Ohio. I reached out to a college friend who is a lawyer, Lisa, and she promised to look over my finances and draw up divorce papers if necessary. "Don't go after him yet," she told me. "Gather evidence, build your case." I continued working, freelancing late into the night, the glow of my laptop a beacon. Every design I completed, every dollar earned, was bringing me closer to freedom. Ryan returned home late, smelling of smoke, throwing his jacket on the couch. "Got any cash, babe?" he asked carefree. I shook my head, my heart pounding. "Not tonight, bills are tight." He shrugged in the dark and switched on his game. I stood watching him, no longer looking at the man I loved, but at a leech sucking the life out of me. I wasn't just getting by. I was fighting back, and my plan was falling into place. Few weeks later I acted. I returned from work, racing heart but steady, and placed my phone on the kitchen table, banking app open to our shared account. "Ryan," I said, voice steady. "I resigned from my job." He paused, controller falling from his grasp. "Game abandoned." "What the hell, Sarah? You quit. We're already broke." I held the phone up for him to see. The almost empty balance exhausted by his parents' rent and casino excursions. "We've been hemorrhaging money," I said, repeating his. "I need a break." Isn't it typical for spouses to cover for each other? Your turn to keep things together. He turned white, panic seeping into his voice. How are we to live? I have loans, Sarah. You must go back to work yesterday. I shrugged, determination firm. Not my problem, Ryan. He phoned his parents hysterical, and within a few hours, they burst into our Columbus apartment, ripping open drawers, believing I was stashing cash. Where's the money? His mom barked, eyes frantic. I displayed the depleted account, voice firm. There's nothing remaining. Oh, and that large withdrawal paid off a loan Ryan borrowed from a pal. I needed to borrow more to compensate. Ryan blew. Who'd you pay? Why now? I looked him in the eye. Marcus, he told me about your debts, Ryan. I did what was right. His parents turned on me. Ryan shouted, let's just divorce. They dragged me to the Franklin County Courthouse, thinking they'd cut ties with their broke cash cow. I signed the papers, hands steady, while Ryan sneered. Good riddance, Sarah. I'm done with your old broke self. I walked out, the Columbus skyline gray and sharp, feeling free. I walked to a coffee shop in the downtown area, its golden lights piercing the gloaming, where Marcus had been waiting. It worked, I said to him, getting into the booth. Divorce is finished. He smiled, relieved. I was afraid they would make it more difficult. I laughed, an honest laugh, for the first time in months. Then I broke to him the truth. It was all an act. I'd stashed my freelance earnings in a secret account for weeks, building a nest egg Ryan and his parents knew nothing about. I'd paid Marcus back the money Ryan owed, plus extra to make the joint account look empty. Marcus slid an envelope across the table, the extra money I'd given him. This is yours, Sarah, he said. I lent money to Ryan, not you. I never expected it back, but you're starting over. Keep it. I attempted to protest, but Marcus would not give in. Take it, he smiled. You've earned yourself a fresh start. I might have wept, not only for the money, but for his thoughtfulness, for noticing me when no one else saw me. Marcus had saved me from Ryan's deceptions and gone along with my scheme, asking no questions. I put in for his coffee as a gesture of gratitude. He chuckled, taking only that. From there, I returned to my previous office, the fluorescent lights of the insurance firm humming. I retrieved a bank card I had left with my boss for safekeeping, secured to my secret account. My coworkers, who had heard fragments of my tale, surprised me with a gift, a sundress and sandals from a nearby shop. You deserve to feel good, my boss said, voice husky. Go find your happiness, Sarah. Leaving them was more difficult than I thought, but Ryan was aware of where I worked. I couldn't take the risk of him appearing. I returned to my childhood home in rural Ohio, cornfields spreading far under open horizons. My work materials, hidden in a bag I snatched amid courthouse turmoil, accompanied me. My freelance graphic design company boomed. Logos, book covers, websites, you name it. I was earning enough to live well, to breathe free of that ever-present drag. The stillness of my hometown, the whir of crickets at dusk, seemed like freedom. Ryan and his parents were not so fortunate. They couldn't afford their condo's rent and were evicted, then lost our old apartment as well. Last I heard, they were getting by in a broken-down trailer outside a river somewhere near Columbus, the city lights a distant tease. Ryan phoned once, from a gas station payphone, voice breaking. Sarah, I'm sorry. I can't live without you. Can we try again? I didn't hesitate. You said you wished you hadn't married an older woman, Ryan. I'm through being your bank. Goodbye. I hung up, blocking unknown numbers, the click of the phone alas severing. In retrospect, I saw it clearly. I'd spent years afraid to be alone, thinking Ryan was my best chance. He did not love me. He loved what I was able to offer him. Leaving wasn't escape. It was discovering myself. I was no longer plain, unworthy Sarah. I was a woman who created her own life, who discovered that her heart mattered. In my hometown, I leased a little house, the porch facing fields where I had drawn as a child. My sister Ellen came by, her cat tucked in her lap, and we giggled over memories, her resilience making me strong. My freelance clients expanded. Neighborhood businesses, then larger companies, all adoring my work. I'd sit at my kitchen table, sunbeams coming through windows, every project a step closer to an independent future. Marcus texted one night calling in. He'd seen Ryan's collapse. Evicted, unemployed, his parents' condo taken away. They'd attempted to borrow from friends, but their reputation was ruined. You did it, Sarah, Marcus wrote. You outwitted them. I smiled, replying, I just reclaimed my life. I didn't require revenge. Merely truth. My bank account increased, my designs in Columbus magazines, my name no longer invisible. I'd walk into the local diner where Mom used to work, and people would nod, proud of the girl who'd succeeded. No need to hurry and get married, no clock to beat. 30 or 50, I'm on my own terms. That's enough. The takeaway: don't be bound by fear of loneliness with a lie. Craft your own worth, and freedom awaits. Thanks for watching Revenza Tales, where gritty and triumphant stories are brought to life. Hit that like button, tell us your comeback stories in the comments, and subscribe for more epic stories. Share this with others who would benefit from a dash of courage, and I will be seeing you at the drawing board of your own.